Welcome back to Full Throttle TV in the Kickin Assphalt Cup Series Next Gen Cup Cars here at New Hampshire. Gonna put on a show tonight. I mean, these guys are in playoff competition, almost solely playoff drivers out here, Jared. Gonna be tough out here on this track here tonight.
Yeah, the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Dean. This is a flat track. This is a tough track. It's going to be interesting to see how these next-gen vehicles handle this track up here in New Hampshire.
It certainly is an unknown for all of us. Let's look in on our race day information. Of course, the keys to the race. Passing going to be very difficult. Qualifying going to be of the utmost importance. Pit stops, when you can't pass, there's one place you can still get it done. That's down on pit road. And we got teams with a little question mark, Jared. Could teams have an issue? I mean, we know there's teams to look for, but could they work together at a place like New Hampshire?
Well, as far as, drafting, we're not going to see too much of that, but I can tell you what you're going to see with teammates, and that is trying to figure out some strategy plays, because the Magic Mile always comes down to some fuel strategy. Pit stops are very crucial here at Dean, and I expect the teams are going to be on the radio trying to figure out what they're going to do every time they have an opportunity.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Right now, qualifying go in. Let's get a look in on our playoff chart there, and you can see our playoff drivers. Of course, Carl Dodson has won already. We put him in the round of 12, and Jared, a very entertaining character, Mr. Carl Dodson.
Yeah, it's always in. I don't even know what to say about Carl Dodson. What a guy. Very excited. He definitely has the enthusiasm. He's into the next round of 12, and that takes a lot of pressure off him. He doesn't have to worry about tonight or next week at Chicago.
I'm feeling a little pressure up in the booth. I'm pretty sure he threatened me tonight, Jared. I'm not exactly sure, but for those of you who know Carl, in jest for sure, and always love having him around. Right now, we look in on Jeffrey Souza out on the track. You know, this is a guy that's got a very high I rating, very talented out here. As we see him struggling there, getting a little squirrely, that car jumping all around. Jared, is this a guy, perhaps a track like this, it could be to his liking, maybe aside from the wreck he just had in qualifying?
Yeah, I think that this is a track that, there is a lot of throttle control, even though it is a next gen vehicle that, you're not really, it's a lot different than what we see in the Gen 6 car, the Xfinity vehicle, the trucks even. But there is still a lot of off throttle time. And I think Jeffrey Souza has shown that he accelerates at races where there's not a lot of throttle time.
Yeah, I think we're right about that. And of course, you got John Dirugeris out here, the ever dangerous 24 machine. He'll have something to say before its end, I'm sure.
Yeah, John Dirugeris. And, Dean, you look at these guys, Dirugeris with the Hendrick guys, and also Tracy Powers. They've kind of been in, I don't want to say a slump, but they've kind of been not factors in a lot of races over the last few months. I mean, John Dirugeris hasn't won since the end of August, and we're at the beginning of October. Tracy Powers, he hasn't won since the fourth race of the year back in Nashville, back in July. These guys not coming into the playoffs on a warm streak right now.
No, they're not. I mean, we talked about earlier in the year that dominance, of course, is going to fade a little bit as guys catch up on how to set up these next-gen cars. But, of course, they're still very talented drivers, and they still are at the front. That gap has come down quite a bit. Right now, though, let's ask everybody to rise up out of your seats and enjoy the singing of the national anthem by Alicia Shipman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's under the light. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, getting all set down here on the track, gridding up. Let's get right into tonight's starting order. On the pole, we're going to have Brandon Pierce in the 41 with a time of 29.980. Tracy Powers will start on the outside of row number 1. John Dirugeris and Dave King will be in row number 2. You got Jeffrey Souza and Carl Dodson in row 3. Then it's Michael Carpenter and Elliot Swope.
Yeah, looking back at row number 5, Dean, we got Marshall Layton and Rick Souza. Row 6 is Dan Weathers and Jeff Nani. And row number 7, Fred Durstock Sr. and Tom Parra. Rounding out your field will be Matt McComas back there in 15th, although I do not see him currently on the grid.
All right, Matt McComas still has not gridded up, so could be a little start and park type of situation for him. Let's talk a little bit about Brandon Pierce out here on the pole. He's showing some flashes of dominance in that 41, Jared.
Yeah, he has. I mean, we go back a couple weeks ago to Watkins Glen on the road course. It looked like he was in his own zip code, his own area code, his own country code, whatever the case may be. Brandon Pierce dominated that race. Can he do the same on an oval tonight, starting up front? He's got Tracy Powers. We talked about him earlier. What can he do? Can the Hendrick guys get back on track? But Brandon Pierce, I think he's going to be tough here at New Hampshire.
Going to be super tough. Powers looking to make his name known once again on the outside. Dirugeris and King right there. Souza and last week's winner Dodson in row 3. This is going to be very interesting here, Jared. I'm looking forward to this one at New Hampshire.
I am too. Carl Dodson says the guys need to make this race quick because he has a meeting tonight. So I don't know what that means, but Carl Dodson out there in a hurry.
Well, he's texting and driving already, Jared. I'm not sure about that. We're going to see how he makes out tonight. Right now, Pearson Powers down. The green flag waves. Pierce with a nice launch off the bottom.
Great launch off the bottom. Tracy Powers doing a good job on the outside. He's going to file in. It looks like behind Pearson. He's going to file back on the outside. Apologies. He's got a strong car.
Wow, he drove that in deep on the outside, and this could be big. I'm not sure which lane's going to persevere here, Jared, but I'm thinking it already looks like the high side's pretty good. Pierce battling hard to get that position. He's going to grab it, so the bottom prevails there on lap 1.
Typically in 1 and 2, that high side around where that asphalt right there on that black line there, that's typically where that extra grip is, up where Tracy Powers is running there. But in 3 and 4, it doesn't quite work out the same way.
Well,
McComas also has rejoined the track, Dean. Sorry, in front of the leaders.
Talk a little bit about how you drive these corners here. There's a couple of different ways to get around here. You know, you got the diamonds and you got the high to low, and you know, there's guys just attack it a little differently here. Oh, and there's someone in the wall.
That is Elliot Swope back there, Dean, that hit the wall. That is actually Carl Dodson. Must be on a Zoom call or something back there hitting the wall. But as far as the track
Oh,
goes,
and he's around. Dodson's around. So getting a little flustered here early is Carl Dodson in the 10. He is struggling. He gathers it back up. No caution. Back on the track to the back of the pack.
Carl Dodson, a little bit of struggle there, but he's got that win, so not too bad. Jumping on board here with Tracy Powers, Dan, you go into the corner, and you see how Tracy Powers kind of running what I call the second groove, and kind of letting that car arc up a little bit lower. Now, I haven't ran the next-gen car here at New Hampshire, but they do drive very similar to the Truck Series vehicles, and I kind of like using that black area just above where Tracy Powers is through this corner, get the wheels right on it, get a nice angle off. Sun is very bright off turn number 4. Holy cow, I couldn't see anything.
Very problematic. Interesting to see. He's taking that kind of high line and being quite smooth with it around there. Pierce a little lower on the track. It's very interesting to see. Personally, I've always kind of diamond these corners, but to each their own. There's many ways to get around this track.
Well, you got to remember, New Hampshire Motor Speedway back in 2006, they put in progressive banking to enhance the racing here. So it's only 3 degrees on the bottom there where Brandon Pierce is running, maybe 6 degrees if he's in that kind of first to second lane there. It looks like he's more in the second lane. That's about 6 degrees, but it goes all the way up to 9 degrees at the top of that racetrack, which is why we see so much multi-groove passing as leaders go around McComas.
Yeah, McComas with the late start there, already going a lap down. We just seen John Dirugeris too. He tagged the wall, and you see him. He's way down the track now. And I think actually running the low line, believe it or not, you might be more apt to hit the wall, Jared, on exit. Just that point, that angle of attack out of the corner.
Yeah, exactly right. So the banking kind of breaks away. Like it's not like progressive banking you see at Las Vegas or something like that. It kind of breaks away, so you kind of lose some traction coming out of the corner on the low side, and the car just kind of wants to head straight to the wall, which is why, like Dean, like you were saying, diamonding or running that second groove diamond is kind of my preferred route around New Hampshire as well.
Wow, we had a little 3 wide situation momentarily. That was Carpenter. It looks like McComas and maybe King was involved there, but no contact or anything, but King well slower. It looks like Michael Carpenter's on the move. He's coming forward here, Jared.
Yeah, up 2 spots. He is our best mover of the race. Nobody's really moved up yet, Dean. Dave King right behind him has moved down 2 spots, and then everybody else has moved up 1 spot behind him all the way back to 11th. Durstock and Parriott up 2. Dotson down 7. Denis down 2. And McComas still 0. And he's actually lagging out, it looks like, right now.
Yeah, he's having some internet issues, no doubt about that. Go ahead.
Apologies. I thought we had a battle for the lead, but Powers backed off, come off too.
10-4. We were just looking a little further back here at Rick Souza, and now at Dan Withers. Withers a little loose off the corner. So these cars, the downforce and everything, still, they don't handle just like, a go-kart or something, Jared.
No, they don't. These cars are difficult to drive at these tracks. And I'm watching on board Dan Withers. 5th gear, somebody's in the wall. That is the 18 of Dave King, Dean.
Dave King getting in an incident there early on. He has gone to the garage very quickly. Let's get a replay. You see King through the start finish line down into corner number 1. He's driving in pretty hard, and it just breaks loose over correction. The 1 has to check up hard. Someone gets into him. Let's get a look and see who got into the 1 there. That might have been Marshall Layton. So you see the 1 here. He has serious check up. He locks up the left front, and that's McComas actually coming around and hitting the 1. So the 1 was some damage, and Dave King in rough shape.
Yeah, that's tough for Dave King. I mean, that car, that is the worst feeling in the world when you have a snap loose condition. Now, I haven't really seen that at New Hampshire before. Usually you'll see it at some of the other tracks, but we got some drivers making some pit calls, Dean. The 14 of Jeffrey Souza staying out, everybody else coming in.
Yeah, very interesting. Souza and Layton stay out. The field coming in, 12 laps in, Jared. Interesting call from these two to stay out on the track.
I actually like the call to stay out. I'm a little bit surprised that everybody decided to pit. Now, I don't know the fuel number, so maybe that could be part of it. But as far as tires, we have not seen the tire really wear out with these next-gen cars. I'd say this is a great call by Souza, and especially Marshall Layton, who moves up from 10th position into 2nd. And Pierce will win the battle up pit road, beating Powers, Dirugeris, Carpenter, Rick Souza, and now Dan Withers off as well.
Well, we talked about how tough it is to pass out here, Jared, and we said one place you can get it done, pit road. So Carpenter really, I think he might have lost a spot or two, and Souza and Withers look to be, as well as Durstock Sr. and Parra, they look to be the big winners.
Yeah, Durstock and Parra coming out. They were running outside the top 10. Now they're coming out in the top 10. Now you also have to remember, Elliott Swope with damage, Carl Dotson with damage. He's down the way. McComas is going to be our lucky dog. Actually, he's not eligible, so apologies about that. And also Dave King, heavy damage and tough break for that playoff contender.
Very tough break indeed as we just look around at a few of these guys. Elliott struggling a little bit. Dodson back here struggling a little bit. Maybe they can reset here, make some adjustments. But Souza and Layton up front on old tires. This is really going to throw us for a loop. We're going to find out what these guys got now.
It's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do because, we're going to find out real quick. Does tire matter here on the short run? And Dean, I like Souza and I like Layton to see what they can do. I'm really curious to see how these cars are going to handle when we get back to green.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. And, you put it on the top two a lot when they're on old tires. But, Brandon Pierce and Tracy Powers, Dirugeris, Carpenter behind them, these guys got jobs to do, and that's patience. I mean, it's so difficult. You got to be patient and not lose spots. How do you do both, Jared?
Yeah, exactly right, Dean. I mean, that's going to be something these drivers are going to have to focus on as this race goes on. What can they do? But, you look at it, it looks like Souza's going to take the bottom. I thought maybe he was going to go to the top there. And, Dean, I was just now noticing through the roster here, got a little bit distracted. Stephen Parriott not here tonight.
Stephen Parriott not on the track. That's big playoff implications as he'll get no points. That's going to be huge. That's going to put him in serious peril.
So it looks like Marshall Layton getting stacked up there. Souza on the inside. Can Layton get a good restart here and try to stay with Souza because he doesn't want to be under attack from Pierce?
Oh, here we go. Souza and Layton. Got to watch tire spin. They launch off. Souza launches really well. Layton a little slow on the high side. Pierce is going to come by. Dirugeris is going to look underneath Layton. I think he'll make that pass. Layton way up the track. He's going to hold it. Everything looks good there. Everybody behind him is in good shape. Back a little further, you got Durstock Jr. making a move here.
Freddie Durstock Sr. is doing a great job there. Up the track a little bit. Layton really struggling through the corner. Almost three wide with his teammate Michael Carpenter and Rick Souza back there. He does get a launch off the corner.
Nini and Parra getting together. But out front is Brandon Pierce back to the lead as those new tires prevail. Here comes Dirugeris and Powers as they're going to try and make a move as well.
Souza in a little bit of a trouble spot here. He's got Dirugeris looking on the inside of him. And Powers, his teammate, pushing through. We got Carpenter.
Michael Carpenter in the wall. Oh, my.
Dan Withers collected as well.
Let's get a look at this crash as we could hear the tires going. Here we go. Looks like Rick Souza underneath Michael Carpenter. They get back in line. Carpenter drives deep in, gets loose, gets into Layton, and he just loses it. The 46 gets into him. Someone else comes sliding through. That's going to be the 22 of Withers sliding on through there as well. So it's Rick Souza and Carpenter getting the brunt of that one.
That's a tough break because Carpenter is a playoff contender. Rick Souza, playoff contender. Dan Withers, playoff contender, all with significant damage from that incident, Dean.
pit lane. Marshall Layton is in.
Yeah, that car did not like those old tires on that heat cycle, Dean. That car, it just did not get up to speed and couldn't get going.
Yeah, no real surprise there. You know, we were 12, 14 laps in. I didn't expect them to necessarily be good on the run, but could play big. I mean, he's gonna have fresh tires now. Will Layton? Carpenter will as well, but he's got that damage. I don't know how that's gonna play out for him. Looks like he's got quite a bit of damage. Can't get a good look at it right now, Jared, but I think the rear end's pretty messed up for Michael Carpenter.
Yeah, looking at Michael Carpenter, he is got a pretty damaged right side, Dean. Also got some damage on the front, especially on the right front. Also has significant damage on the rear end, missing the entire TV panel back there, actually.
We look in, and now I'm thinking that Matt McComas should get a lucky dog, but I could be wrong about that.
He should be eligible, but I did not see him involved in the wreck, but he could have gotten a piece of it because it's not letting him through yet.
Yeah, I think he would have already gone around, Jared, but I could be mistaken.
I'll double check on that, Dean. It looks like he's still showing one lap down and dropping to the rear of the field, so he did not get lucky dog again.
Very strange there. He must have caught a piece somewhere that we missed. So a couple of early cautions here at New Hampshire. Lap 19 at 130. And this is a tough little track. And these cars, they have not shown, you know, I've been really surprised by what we've seen from them, Jared. I thought we would see super hooked up cars. I mean, throughout the year, especially on short tracks, I thought the downforce would be so much they could just, you know, almost flat footed around these places. But we're seeing really difficult cars to handle.
Yeah, we are, and I think the reason being is because number one, there is an aero dependency on these cars. You get somebody up alongside you, and all of a sudden the car just kind of starts handling a little bit weird. The other thing too is I think the New Hampshire is just a tricky track in general. I mean, it's flat, a little bit of banking, it's progressive, so there's a couple different ways to attack the track. And I think some guys may be set up for a certain spot, then have to run a different line, and then end up wrecking.
So Brandon Pierce out front, and he's starting to have a little computer issue there, a couple little blinks. Souza in second, Dirugeris third, Powers in fourth, then it's Rick Souza, Freddie Durstock Jr. This guy's up 5 and 7 spots. Dodson crawling his way back towards the front. Perez up 6. Swope and Withers your top 10.
Yeah, and you look at those guys back here. I mean, this is a big points night for some of these drivers trying to make it into the round of 12, I should say. Freddie Durstock up to 6th spot in the 48 machine, looking to make some progress.
All right, pace car peels off. The 41 leads him down, and boy, he jumps this time. Good start. Can Dirugeris get under Souza? No, he cannot. Jeffrey Souza, Rick Souza behind. He's looking to make a move. Dodson on the outside, thinking about it. Here he comes. Carl Dodson coming back towards the front as he's looking better and better now.
He's got some damage still on that car, but not as bad as Rick Souza, missing the entire front clip, Dean. Battling through the corner. Everybody gets through there nicely. Looking a little bit further back, Durstock. We also have Layton battling on the outside.
Layton back in some heavy traffic here. He's got McComas. He's going to look underneath them. Marshall Layton making a move. Carpenter thinking about... Oh, and Layton's around. He locks him up. He's going to be all right. No caution on the track. He's going to have to get going. We look back. Here's Pierce, Souza, and Dirugeris. Carpenter's quickly going to be in trouble from these leaders.
Yeah, he is. And I thought, Dean, Carpenter's around.
Carpenter was around. Carpenter around or that was Layton who was around. Carpenter around. My goodness.
And that will bring out a caution. Carpenter backed it into the fence in 3 and 4.
Well, let's get a look in on it. You've seen what happened to Marshall Layton. So coming down here into corner number 3, under McComas, way down low on the track, and that car just did not like it down there. No stick, around he goes.
and that's a tough break for Michael Carpenter. He was running the top 5 to start this race, Dean, but the handling has gone away. Then with the damage from that big accident, I think the handling's pretty much gone completely now.
So Pierce, Souza, Dirugeris, and Powers up front. We're on lap 24 of 130. And, you know, quick cautions. I mean, what's the strategy play here, Jared? How is this affecting guys? Is there a fuel opportunity? I realize we're not going to know the fuel mileage here at this point, but this is, anytime you see these little cautions, there's always something that can be had. And Sousa's in. Both Sousas. 2 different spellings, but they're both in.
The Z and the S are both in there, Dean. And I like this call by both these drivers because they get off sequence from the leaders. We know they have to make it to lap 65. If they can do 65 laps, it's a one-stop green flag race from here, because it's 130 laps. So I look at that, and I think that these guys, I don't think anybody can make it from here. I don't think there's enough fuel in the tank, but I think we're starting to get closer to that number of making it all the way here.
Yeah, it's always an interesting decision because it might be good tire-wise, it might be good fuel-wise, but what about putting yourself in peril, Jared? I mean, we don't have a whole lot of drivers, a little less peril than putting you in 40th, but still, you're going to the back of 13, 14 cars, possibilities of getting in something could be greater.
Yeah, I mean, you see that all the time in all the races we cover, Dean. Somebody's up front, they go down pit road to similar situation, and then all of a sudden some of these other guys, with some damaged cars out there, and you get stuck behind them or you get stuck beside them, whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden you've lost time that you wouldn't have if you stayed out. So it's going to be interesting to see what Souza could do because he's going to be at the very tail end, Dean.
Yeah, that's Rick Souza back here in the 46, Jeffrey Souza in the 14. And it's going to be interesting. Not only do you have the possibility of something happen, but you're generally a much faster car, and you're back here, and your closing rate is so extraordinary. Other guys' braking points different. There's just all kinds of dangers. I've done it so many times, and so many times I've regretted it. Once in a while, works out really well, Jared.
Yeah, been in the same boat, Dean. Did want to give you an update. McComas finally, after about 6 attempts, I feel like he's back on the lead lap.
All right, so Matt McComas back on the lead lap, finally getting that lucky dog here. Not sure why he didn't get it last time, but I'm sure there's a good reason. But the 12 persevering here, right back in it.
And Dean, I'm looking at the point standings, and this is a night that some drivers can get an opportunity. We have Chicagoland next week, and you look at, some drivers we're missing tonight. Matt Swope not here tonight, so he is going to put himself in a really negative position. This could be good for Tom Parriott or Matt McComas. Matt McComas was 13th coming in. He was only 2 points behind Dave King. Dave King sitting on pit road 16 laps down, Dean. This could be a huge night for some of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely could be a big night for these guys. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Guys are going to really be in peril next week. They're going to, a couple of them might be in a win or go home situation.
You look at the lineup, Pearson Dirugeris on the front row. What can the 24 car do there? Powers and Dotson after that early wreck, Dean. He's back up into the top 5. Then you have Elliott Swope, Durstock, Withers, Parra, Nate, and Leighton, your top 10 right now.
Well, Dodson taking my challenge when I was talking to him earlier. He's looking to get up here in the booth for an interview, coming all the way back up to 4th. But Pierce down and away quickly after the pace car comes off. Dirugeris kind of stuck, with, not ready for that a little bit. Here comes Powers down on the inside. Looks like Dirugeris drove it in a little harder. Ooh, and off the corner, they're gonna be lined up all right.
Durstock also right behind this battle. He threw it in down in turn 1. Trying to get down underneath Dotson. Dotson, a little bit more speed down the straightaway. That's going to open the door for Elliott Swope to pass around the outside as well.
Yeah, interesting how much more speed he had on the straightaway. Straightaway is not that long, but still paying off. Swope gets by too, so Durstock Sr. trying to make a move cost him a couple spots.
Rick Souza had a penalty passing under yellow. Elliott Swope up in the wall, locked it up, Dean, and he makes contact with Durstock.
My goodness, Elliott Swope in trouble back there. Withers now making a move.
Update on Rick Souza passing under yellow. He had to serve a penalty, just now getting into his stall, Dean.
So Rick Souza down there serving that penalty. So unfortunate as our leaders come on by. It's still Pierce, Dirugeris, Powers, and then Dodson, Swope, and Durstock.
Swope is able to get around Durstock and open up that lead. But look at Jeffrey Souza. Powers by Dan Withers into turn 3.
Yeah, Jeffrey Souza coming straight towards the front. He's down on the apron, Jared. He is using all the track.
I actually like that line a lot, Dean. You could really make the car turn, especially if you don't have a lot of left front camber in it. If you're trying to save the tire a little bit here or find a little bit more grip. And you see right behind him, Dan Withers locking up. We see a lot of people locking up into turn number 1, Dean. I wonder what the brake bias situation is on these cars, but I like the line Jeffrey Souza's running out there.
Yeah, I think it's a setup issue. You're seeing a lot of a single tire lockup, usually the left front. And it's very interesting to me how the what setup produces that condition. Still haven't quite figured that out, Jared.
And it looks like some of these guys got a lot of front bias dialed in, and it's kind of costing them some time back there. You look back a little bit further, Dean Marshall Layton on some fresher tires. He's got Michael Carpenter tucked up behind him. Jeff Nannini locks up into turn 1, trying to hold up Matt McComas for 10th. Up front, Pierce is under a big battle with Dirugeris.
Here we go. John Dirugeris for the race lead. Powering off the corner. Pierce on the high side going to prevail, but down into 1. Who's going to be more aggressive here? Dirugeris throws it in deep. That car sticks. Pierce battles back on the outside.
And right here is where Dirugeris just can't get the throttle down loose off the corner. Pierce is going to clear him.
Going to clear him, and will it cost Dirugeris more spots? That's the problem. You go down there trying to get a spot, you end up losing 1, maybe 2, as Powers going by, and Dirugeris is almost around. A great save, but he's going to fall in now in 4th place.
These guys are running some really trimmed out setups around here, Dean. Look like a handful in this next-gen car here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, Dirugeris, I mean, that is the whole problem, Jared, with trying to make a move and talking about patience and stuff like that. You know, I don't know what you do. You got to go for it, I guess, but we've seen it cost more than help so far tonight.
Yeah, and I think New Hampshire's a track that'll punish you if you're too aggressive. You got to be easy on the gas, easy on the brakes, and the more you punish the tires, the more trouble you're going to have as the run goes on. We got 3 cars battling for the lead, tucked under a blanket. Powers with a great run through center off.
Powers starting to assert himself again. It's been a while for him. He's looking good here tonight, all over our race leader of Brandon Pierce. Don't forget about Dodson sitting there lurking in 3rd.
And then, you know, looking at Tracy Powers, I mean, he did win back at Nashville Super Speedway. Now, Nashville has some banking, obviously, not quite the same track as New Hampshire, but there are a lot of similarities as far as how you drive the tracks there. And Powers had a really good setup there. I'm sure he took some of those notes, brought him here to New Hampshire, and he's really putting the pressure on Pierce.
We hop on board with Carl Dodson looking ahead. 2 Powers there. You see, came in deep, almost right to the bumper of the 5. The 5 a little high on exit. Dodson a little high on exit. Very interesting watching from this view.
Yeah, he goes down into turn 1. You can see the angle these guys are hitting. Dodson running about the mid-second line. Powers running the high second line. Pierce is entering high and then cutting down low. So it's really interesting to watch these cars, how they're balanced through the turns. You see right here, Dodson way up in the top groove. That's where the 9-degree banking is. And Powers looking on the outside, coming off turn number 4.
Powers taking a peek, and I think that's where you want to make your move. He's going to swoop down low to get back in line. I mean, that low side is just, you talked about the track punishing you. It seems to really punish you if you can't get it done. Powers keeps peaking high on exit. I think that's where he wants to try and make that move.
And I think he needs to get up there in the black, that 9-degree banking area right up there above that seam. I think if he could get up there, he'll get a good run. I saw him do this earlier in the year in a different series, and it really worked out for him en route to a top 5 finish. And I think he needs to get back there and start running up on the high side.
Well, Dirugeris just made a move. Let's get a replay on that. He just got around Carl Dodson. So here we go. Way up the track to 24. Into the dark stuff there with that banking. He comes off and he does get to the outside. Dodson has to back out a little bit and Dirugeris goes by. I think he learned a little something from trying to pass on the low side, Jared.
Yeah, low side, like you said, Dean, that we were talking about earlier, it kind of breaks away in the opposite direction. The banking just kind of is flat, and then all of a sudden you got 3 degrees and then 6 degrees, and that can really upset the car. But Powers is giving everything to Brandon Pierce. What a battle for the lead. He's getting the nose to the outside, just can't quite get the throttle down.
Yeah, this harassment, though, and I don't know about phrasing it as harassment. Oh, and he's into him. Pierce losing it, overcorrection. He's got Powers.
Man, caution is out. Caution is out.
And the 2 race leaders, Dean.
2 race leaders, and I called a little bit of harassment there. I don't know. I didn't really mean it, but that contact was harassment, Jared.
My goodness, this changes the entire complexion of the race. And basically, it just happens to be that Powers just had a better run entering the corner, didn't anticipate Pierce, and then Pierce overcorrected. We saw that with Dave King. Contact, 5 in the wall.
Well, Jared, I mean, there's something interesting I noticed on this replay with the entrance to Powers. Looks like the car jumped left on him. Looked like he was going for that high in that dark stuff again, and maybe just half and half on the banking. The car jumped a little bit left. I'm not sure if I'm seeing that correctly, but he obviously got in too hard. And then that save, I mean, the 41 trying desperately to save it. It finally grabs and goes up the track. Man, oh man. Let's get another little look and see how much damage Powers got there.
Oof, hard impact. And luckily, it was just those 2 drivers involved, but that opens the door for John Dirugeris. Don't look now also, Dean. Jeffrey Souza up to 2nd place as everybody's on pit road.
Everybody on pit road here. Let's get our pit board up. And Souza does come back in, so he's not shy. Even though he had just pitted, he still wants his fresh rubber. Dirugeris first out. Woo! That's Dodson coming out, almost taking the lead there. Elliott Swope coming out 3rd. Here comes Durstock, Pierce. What happened to Souza?
Let's see what happened. It looks like, Dean, he sped.
Oh, hold Jeffrey
Oh, no,
Souza.
hold on. Let me get some research on that, Dean. He did not speed. He's got damage.
Jeffrey Souza with damage. What? Very interesting there. Did he get a little late piece of that incident?
Yeah, and I'll let you know, Dean. We're looking at it right now here down in the booth.
We see everybody else coming off. So right now, Dirugeris, Dodson, Swope, Pierce, Durstock Sr., Layton, Nani, Carpenter, Withers, Para, your top 10. Powers on pit row. He's back off. He's showing in 11th. He's got that damage now. McComas there. And Jeffrey Souza back on the track now after he fixed some damage apparently.
Dean, I looked at the replay down here in the TV production booth. Jeffrey Souza went into turn 3 right when that wreck was happening. So it's a separate incident. Locked up the brakes on entry and just slammed the wall, and heavy damage to the 14 machine.
I wonder if we can get a look at that as he re-enters pit lane, trying to get a little more damage fixed here.
Yeah, I think if you go to the yellow flag, Dean, and then click on Jeffrey Souza, you should be able to see that incident.
We'll get a look here. I mean, I'm not sure if this is going to catch it or not. Well, I think we caught it. He just blew the corner, went straight in the wall, and then the wreck was in front of him, and that might have had some influence on him. Is that the incident you were talking about, Jared?
That's correct. Yeah, he smacked the wall pretty good, trying to get slowed down maybe for that accident. Not sure. Looked like he locked it up a little bit.
Yeah, very interesting little thing there. Didn't look like a lot of damage, but he's going to get it fixed. Still kind of early here, lap 44 of 130.
So it's going to be Dirugeris and Dodson, Dean. And now Pierce, he got tagged in that wreck. And look at him now. He is up into 3rd place still.
Brandon Pierce up here now, back in third place after that wreck. I mean, him and Powers, I don't know what this guy is. A little early for that contact, but here we go. Dirugeris and Dodson away. Elliott Swope being challenged by Brandon Pierce on the outside. Durstock Sr. right behind them, waiting to see as the one way down the track. Pierce pulls away, so he's going to sort into third place. Durstock Sr. looks like he's going to take fourth.
And Durstock Sr., what a job by him on the outside, having his best run of the entire season, Dean, and this is the time to do it when you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is where the winners come. He's running that familiar 48. He knows a little something about winning. We see Marshall Layton getting a little loose on the bottom there, and some guys coming around the high side. Wow, and that was Dan Withers driving in deep. He's in the wall. Powers underneath him. He's going to hold on to that, but Withers just blew the corner there, Jared.
Yeah, he did. You almost had 3 wide there. Jeffrey Souza coming through with a head of steam. So is Jeff Nani. It's contact. Almost contact between Nani and Souza. Souza had to go to the apron. Don't think that Nani expected Souza to make that much of a run.
My goodness, Nani having a little problems there. And yeah, Souza all the way down on the apron. He might have found something there. He looked pretty good with 4 wheels on the apron.
Oh, Nani smashes the wall going into turn 1. Could not get the 40 rolled up. He hits Michael Carpenter, comes back across the track.
Nani struggling here at New Hampshire. He's got a little bit of track here. Can he hold on behind him? It looks like Perez loose. He's down in the apron, touching the grass, back on the track. And there's the knee again, still struggling. He's pulling off. He's down pit road. I don't know if that was intentional or just where the car was going and it took him with him. Oh, and Dodson, there's action everywhere, Jared. Dodson in second place, or third place, I should say, get loose out of the corner. And he saves it. Great job. Second time we've seen him do that.
I think this damage is starting to change the handling of these cars. Dirugeris, I believe, is the only driver without any damage out here. But we saw in the knee, he smashed the wall coming into turn 3, got loose when he got off the turn, and then went down pit road. Dodson loose off turn 2 with that car really struggling for grip right now. Still loose.
My goodness. Adjustments going one way, then another for these guys. And we just seen Powers. He came on by Durstock Sr. Here goes Souza on by as well. So Powers and Souza, they're coming back towards the front here after their both had damage from different incidents, I believe.
Yeah, and Powers doing a good job even with that car being the way it is. I mean, I don't think any driver out here has a clean car except maybe Dirugeris. But my goodness, it's been a heck of an entertainment last few laps here.
It really has, and I think the guys to watch right now, outside of our leader, of course, is Powers and Souza. They are really making headway. Now Powers working on Elliott Swope, and I think it's just a matter of a couple of turns here. He's looking much faster.
Yeah, he is. He's doing a great job out of the corners there. You jump on board with Carl Dodson, and you can see that, or Elliott Swope actually. Let's look back here. Elliott Swope, he's got Powers and Jeffrey Souza lined up behind him, and Swope is just not able to get into the corner nearly as good as Powers and Souza. Look at Powers close right up to the back of him.
Yeah, I noticed Powers really rolling the center much better than Swope in particular. And I don't know if that's a braking issue or a driving or a car setup issue. Maybe you talk a little bit about rolling the center of the corner, Jared.
Yeah, rolling the center of the corner, man, really there's a couple ways you can do it. You either back up your corner or you drive it in deep and kind of let that car roll, but it's going to require a car that's pretty loose. And I think that's why we saw that contact with the 41 and the 5. You can't really deviate from your plan if you're rolling as much as he is in the middle. Souza looking on the inside of Powers.
Yeah, Souza looking to make a move. That low side, awful tough. Powers really protecting that high line, or running the high line, I should say. And, he's coming down a little bit down the track, but you got to give Elliott Swope some credit here. He's been able to hold off Powers. He's looking a little stronger and stronger as this run goes along. And we haven't had a long run yet, Jared. Here comes Souza again.
And we're up to an 11-lap run right now, so Elliott Swope doing a good job. But everybody did pit on lap 41 except Michael Carpenter, who pitted on lap 24. But Dean, looks like these three, but they are losing time. to John Dirugeris and Brandon Pierce up there in first and second. Pierce dropping off Dirugeris, and man, Power's really doing a great job entering the corner. He's got to run the outside on Swope.
He got a little run with Swope, able to get off the corner a little smoother. He's going to keep that spot. There's Powers and Souza. I mean, this is the battle we're going to stick with for now. Here comes Powers down the inside. He's got to check a little bit. Souza going to get a run. He's going to look underneath.
Souza with a great run off the corner. He's kind of anticipating the drive, but that car has struggled on the bottom here tonight, and you see it again. Powers making a move, and he actually rolls up to the back of Elliott Swope. Had to slow down just a little bit, but he does clear Souza.
He is so good in the, like, around a third of the way the corner in to that second third. That 5 car almost accelerates there where nobody else seems to be able to do it. Not quite as good off the corner, though.
Yeah, and there's always a compromise, especially in New Hampshire. You know, it's a track where you have to compromise. You're not going to be able to get it exactly correct every time because there is a slight banking difference in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Not a lot, but just a slight way the grade is, I guess you could say. And Powers with a great run off 1, but he just cannot get up to Swope to make a challenge.
Well, you know, what about the line that Swope's running? I mean, I love the line he's running. He's got, like, those tires just barely on that dark area, and that gives no room for Powers on the high side. He's basically saying, you can have a run at me. There's lots of room down there. You head on down.
Dean Durstock flipping over on the front straightaway. And there's somebody tagged underneath them. I can't tell who that is. Maybe Marshall Layton?
That looks like Marshall Layton as Durstock. And Marshall Layton's going to flip him over. Marshall Layton trying to help him out there. And he can't, so he's going to go away. That was an interesting move from Marshall. Let's get a look in on the crash. So Marshall down on the low side. Durstock Sr. up high. They come off the corner, off of 4, and it looks like, I got to tell you, this doesn't look like the 48 gave him enough room to race there.
You know, looking at that replay, you can definitely see that just getting a better look at this, Dean, real quick here. And Durstock on that outside just kind of pinches down just a little bit. Nothing terrible yet, but then he comes off the corner. I think he had his eyes on Matt McComas there, just didn't even pay attention to what was going on there. And then he rolls back across the track, and the car just kind of lazily flips over.
Yeah, I'm definitely not trying to call out anybody or anything like that. We just, whatever we see, we call, and it looked like he just didn't quite drift all the way up the track. Marshall expecting him to be a little higher. But nonetheless, we got some pit stops occurring here. Dirugeris is in. Powers, Souza, Withers, Carpenter, all on pit road. Para and Layton on pit road. But Pierce, Dodson, and Swope stay out.
And this is going to be interesting to see what these guys can do here staying out. Pierce, you know, Dean, I thought that he was going to be struggling after that wreck. But that 41 machine, look how damaged that car is. It looks like it's been through a junkyard, and here it is leading the race, 70 laps to go.
We got some long pit stops. Dirugeris coming off now. Carpenter out second. Powers still down here. Still sitting. Layton's still on. Withers and Para.
Powers must have had some damage or something, Dean, we didn't see.
He must have. Withers coming off. Powers remains. Here comes Para. Here comes Layton. Will Tracy Powers, yes, he's going to come out and beat the pace car, so getting some damage fixed there for certain.
50 seconds of damage, and that car was that fast. Holy cow, Tracy Powers has really got something under the hood tonight.
He does, and I think that's what he decided. Let's go ahead. There's going to be other cautions. There's a long race. He's seen what Souza's able to do. He's seen what Dirugeris is able to do from the back. And we got Elliott Swope in as well, which is interesting.
Elliott just came down pit road on the second time around, getting some damage fixed. He had some damage still on the rear end, and that looks to be a little bit better off than it was before.
So just look in on that time. I guess he did take a full pit stop there. So interesting call for Elliott to come in late like that, but he'll be fine. I thought maybe we have a fuel mileage situation, but I think 70 pretty safe. Most guys can make it.
Yeah, I think that everybody's pretty good on fuel at this point in time. I know they can do at least 60 laps, so I think that this is pretty much going to do it for the race as far as green flag pit stops go, potentially.
Well, for gas, I mean, we've seen what tires can do, Jared. I mean, 12 laps or so, and we've seen our leaders getting past. So I think you'll still see tires if they're. Do you know the situation on the? Is there a tire limit out here tonight? Are they unlimited? I think they got maybe 5 sets.
Dean, you're correct. 5 sets in the pits, 70% fuel limit.
So 5 sets. I mean, these guys got to be getting down there already. Some of them taking tires several times here tonight.
I'm kind of circling Michael Carpenter. It says he's pitted 4 times, Rick Souza 4 times. So those guys could be lingering on the edge of being out of tires. Now, it doesn't count any like gas and goes or anything like that. So that number may be a little bit off. Everybody else about 2 or 3 right now.
All right, and come around again. It's Pierce and Dodson up front. What can Dodson do? Dodson launches first. He's got to check up. That's going to hurt him. Dirugeris does a smart thing and backs out of it. Very good job by Dirugeris there.
Dotson tried to time it, and he just missed on that one. Dirugeris going to make the pass underneath them. Dotson second to fourth in one corner.
You know, I still give him credit, though. He backed out, Jared. He made a mistake, and he corrected it. And you give credit to Dirugeris as well for not turning him or getting into him. So great job by the 10 and the 24, even on a mistake by the 10.
Yeah, Dean, you look at John Dirugeris. He is now up in that third groove, really running high up the track. This groove has moved around a lot in this race, and Dirugeris really able to roll that center. Not as good as Tracy Powers, his teammate, but he has caught up to the back of Jeffrey Souza, gets a run down the back straightaway.
He does. Carpenter gets around Dodson. That's Withers there. He's getting around. Swope coming up already. He's way down on the track. Other guys up on the track. Up front, still battling. Pierce, Souza, Dirugeris.
Dan Withers locked it up heavy going into turn 3. Dean smoked it all the way down in there and nearly ran into the back of Elliott Swope. Tracy Powers had to back off to prevent from getting in. We have 3 cars under a blanket for the lead, though. Dirugeris with a great run off the corner, looking, and now Souza's looking.
They're all looking. They're looking everywhere, Jared. Dirugeris might be thinking, I'll take him on the high side now that he went low. He's going to try and get that run and fill that gap. I think he'll do that. Souza's going to be in trouble now. He's trying to pass Brandon Pierce, but now he's going to get passed by Dirugeris. Wow.
Oh, Dirugeris, what a move to the outside.
Dirugeris with a power move way up the track. They're almost 3 wide. Down low, Souza's still battling, but Dirugeris has made the move past him. He's going to look on the outside of Pierce. What a move by the 24, taking to the high side, forcing the 41 down the track. Whoa, they're side by side heading down into one.
What a move by John Dirugeris. I've been saying it all night, Dean. Get up there in the black, get up there against the wall, and get a good run off the corner. Dirugeris must be hearing me because he is making a power move. Pierce fighting back on the low side. Great run through 1 and 2. We haven't seen that from anybody on the bottom tonight, Dean.
Man, Pierce doing all he can to hold off this high line attack from the 24, but it's going to prevail here. Put John Dirugeris on the point once again. Wow, he found something up there.
What a job by John Dirugeris. I love that upper groove. I was hoping somebody would get up there, Dean, and they finally did. Dirugeris up to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I know it's a longer way around the track, but and Dodson, again, he's lost it. He gathered it back up. Another great save by Carl Dodson. My goodness.
Dean, while all that was going on, I want to focus real quick on the 23 of Michael Carpenter. This guy was dead last after an early wreck, getting caught up with Dave King, and he was 2 laps down at one point in time, Dean. He's up to 4th place now.
Yeah, Michael Carpenter has had an up and down evening. You know, he's been very fast. Then he struggles a little bit. He's been in a wreck or 2 as well. But man, oh man, he is back and forth, and he is coming, Jared. He might be the fastest guy on the track.
The last time by, Dean, the fastest driver was John Dirugeris, but all the top 6 are all in the 30s still.
So last time by, we bring those up, and the Carpenter actually was fastest on the track. Well, Yes, I believe he was, Jared. So the
Yeah, this time,
23
yeah.
is cranking him out here, and he's got Swope on his back end. Swope's looking underneath him.
Yeah, he actually did the fastest lap right as he went across the line when I was talking, Dean. And then now he's under pressure from Elliott Swope. But Carpenter and Swope, they could catch up to this battle, make it a 5-car gaggle. Tracy Powers also coming in the distance, too.
So their last lap, let's look, and it looks like that time Dirugeris fastest. So we're having some wild swings here on the lap times, Jared, and I don't know if that's really explainable or not. Is that different lines? Is that running in traffic, or is that just kind of what you deal with at a place like New Hampshire?
I think it's just a little bit inconsistent. I mean, it's a track that, you have to hit your marks every time to get a good lap. If you kind of miss by a little bit, enter too low, enter too high, all of a sudden you kind of change how your entire how you attack the track. And I think that's what we're seeing. Carpenter really running a great diamond through turn 1 and 2, but he has lost a little bit of something that he had earlier in this run.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch that and hear you talk about the diamond. I mean, I talked about what I like to run here is kind of a small diamond, I guess I would call it, a little drift up in the middle. But it doesn't seem to be that effective here tonight. I'm seeing guys who are entering, the higher you enter, the better off they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the line I love to run at New Hampshire. Run up there against the wall. I mean, it does take a handful of laps to come in depending on what the starting track state is. But once that line comes in, it is so good here in New Hampshire. And I've seen some, we saw Dirugeris make the move on the outside. Very difficult to do, but I love the high diamond, I guess you could say, Dean.
There you go. We look in on Dan Withers. Dan Withers in the 22. He's had an eventful evening as Parriott looks underneath him. But Withers has been interesting. At times, he's looked like maybe the fastest guy on the track, and at other times, struggling. So he's been up and down all night.
Yeah, he's gotten the wall a couple times, Dean. Looks like he's kind of cooked the brakes a little bit on entry, which is definitely hurting that car. I think, he's fast, but, he's got that brake bias maybe set a little bit too far forward, or he's driving in just a little bit too deep, and it's kind of cost him a little bit. But he did power through that one. Holds off Parriott for now, but now he's loose. Parriott's loose on the bottom.
Parriott loses, and he's going to lose a spot. Well, that's actually Rick Souza. He's lapped down at least. So Rick Souza in the 46, no front end on that machine. Still looking pretty racy. Back up front we go. Dirugeris out here opening up a lead. He's really found something, and he's found some open track now. He's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, if Souza could not get around Pierce, I mean, he has not been able to make a move, and those guys have been dropping. They've actually allowed Elliott Swope to catch up to them a little bit. He's been gaining just a click here and there every lap. Dean, last time he was about a tenth quicker than these two drivers, so I expect here in a few laps he's going to be on the back bumper.
The one thing I love about this track, we've seen what the 24 did way up the track. Near the wall he was running. Other guys running, high to low. Other guys running diamonds. Then you look at Swope. Swope was at least just minutes ago right on the bottom. There he goes down to the bottom, a little mini diamond there. So the one on a different line, and I just love it when you see all these cars running different lines.
Yeah, the Magic Mile, definitely a top 5 oval for me, Dean. I mean, it is such a great place to run at. So many different places you can run. Really a driver's track, especially if you like throttle on and off throttle time and things like that. And man, it's just a beautiful track. I wish it was still on the schedule a little bit more than it is now.
Yeah, well, we could say that about a few, but we'll leave those decisions for the suits, and we'll enjoy what we can here. Right now, Swope under pressure from Carpenter. Carpenter battling back. Both of these guys coming up to join that battle with Pierce and Souza.
Michael Carpenter doing a good job. He's got a good setup through the middle of that corner, Dean, but these guys have switched back to the middle groove. They used to be running up on the top on that black, and now they've kind of moved back to that traditional second groove, the line you were talking about at the beginning, in the middle there, Dean.
Yeah, they're searching. They just won't search where you want them to search. And the one guy who did went straight to the lead. So maybe we'll see that come in again. But, you got to be around a guy like Dirugeris to see that line to encourage you to go try it. And you see Carpenter now inching up the track.
Yeah, there's a guy, Dean, that you're familiar with, Bernard Person. I mean, I watched him a couple, I think it was last year in a race, and I saw him use that line, and I started experimenting with it. Love that line, but shout out to Bernie out there. He in a different league we cover, and he definitely is the master at running that high groove here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, Bernie, and I can remember, maybe not at New Hampshire, but another track, we seen Brian Helm run an extremely high line like that, and man, he just dominated that race. Carpenter looking on the outside, he's got an inch on the outside of Swope, doesn't get off the corner particularly great though.
Yeah, but the door is open now. He can drive in deep, and that's what he's going to do. Up into the third groove, Dean. What a move. Elliott Swope hits the apron down there. No grip for the one-car Carpenter to fourth.
Wow, Michael Carpenter using that line. Was that enough to learn something and say, hey, that wasn't too bad. Maybe I'll stay up here. So he kind of goes back down a little bit. Swope goes up a bit. Everybody's searching around for grip.
Yeah, this is, Dean, we've covered some races here in New Hampshire since the updates to the track have happened. And I have to say, it's one of the most racy tracks that we go to now. As far as the groove kind of changing around as the race goes on. And you're seeing that here again tonight, even with the next gen car. We've done the Gen 6 car. We've done the trucks. I mean, we've done everything at New Hampshire, and they all seem to be a track that moves around quite a bit. Really enjoying the racing here tonight as Carpenter tries to get back up to the podium positions.
There's a guy we're looking in on as Tracy Powers. He looked very good early, Jared. Is that damage maybe just too much? The 5 back in 7th place right now.
Yeah, I was watching Tracy Powers earlier in this run. He was making a move toward Swope and Carpenter, and then he just stopped moving forward. He got a little bit loose a couple laps ago, dropped a position there to Carl Dotson, and the 5 car just not really finding the groove. Don't know if it's damage or if maybe there's a strategy play here that we don't know about. Dotson down pit road, Dean.
Dotson in here right now. And we got a little controversy in the comment section there involving Dotson as well. Very interesting to say the least. But Carl Dotson coming in here on a green flag situation. I'm not sure this is scheduled. I'm not sure what's happening here.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know. This is I don't know. They do run 70% fuel here, so I mean that could be part of it. But I mean this is only 40 laps since they pitted, Dean. 30 laps. Apologies.
Let's put our pit board up here. We got lap 58 was Dirugeris, Souza, Pierce was 41. So it's very interesting to see what Dodson deciding here. I don't know. He might be breaking it into thirds, Jared. I'm not sure.
Well, if they can't go the distance, I mean, maybe Tracy Powers, that's why he's back down his lap times. I mean, he's been running some pretty slow lap times, almost a second slower than he was at the beginning of this run, Dean. And everybody else is or second slower than what the guys in front of him are doing. So I just wonder if maybe Tracy Powers trying to save a little fuel as he comes under attack from Dotson.
Dotson with the fresh rubber going to go out here and lay down some laps. I mean, I like the call. I like doing something different. You know that, Jared. I'm not sure it's the right call, but Dotson says, hey, there's one way I can win, and that's outmaneuver him, outthink him. And maybe he's on to something we just haven't caught on to yet, but I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, but at the same time, Dean, he can gamble, right? He's got that win in the bank. You can make chances like that. You don't have anything to lose. You're into the round of 12.
That's a great point. And that's why you get out there and you attack and you win that first race. So you can do things like this. And Dotson taking full advantage.
Brandon Pierce is in, Dean.
All right, so these are scheduled pit stops. Dotson made a short pit. You got to love that, Jared. And Pierce is in. But Pierce, remember, he pitted last on lap 41. So he's 17 laps. Fresher tires for Dirugeris. He can go 17 more if he wanted.
Yeah, 17 more puts us at 104, Dean. So I think these guys are all going to have to pit here before the end of this race.
Oh, I think there's no doubt about that at this point. But will they have to pit twice? No, they won't have to do that.
Oh, almost contact for our leader. Jeff Nanee gets up in the wall off turn number 2 and nearly comes down the track into Dirugeris. Dirugeris had to make evasive action, near miss for Dirugeris.
My goodness. So we look back here. There's Pierce making a move. He did come out in front of Dodson. He's going to be going by. Here comes Jeffrey Souza onto pit road. So the 14 has checked in.
Yeah, and that difference on track, I mean, it's 1 second between Pierce and Dodson. Guess what the difference on pit lane time was between those two drivers, Dean? Almost 1 second.
Man, oh man, pit road, the utmost importance these days. The 24 out here leading this thing. When will he pit? Will he stay out here too long? It's hard to say, Jared. I mean, as a leader, you usually like to, when you got a good car and you got a good lead, you want to stay out here a little bit longer, but how long is the question?
Well, Dean, I think at this point in time, I mean, you're kind of looking at everybody, your challengers all pitted. Now, you had a 4-second lead, but now you're kind of sitting in this spot like, okay, I'm going to have to come down pit road. You don't want to, I love the undercut at road courses. On ovals, I like to stay out as long as I possibly can to give you that advantage at the end. But there is a threshold, and once you cross over it, it is downhill from there. And Dirugeris is kind of pressing his luck at this point.
He is. I mean, he's definitely going to lose the lead, I think. The question is, how close will he be? How easily can he get back and make the pass again? And I think the answer is probably going to be he thinks he's in good shape. So he might run another 4 or 5 laps here yet. Dan Withers on pit road as well.
And everybody's starting to look and see where they're going to come in, what they're doing. And this is where the teamwork kind of plays in, Dean. Dirugeris, I mean, it's only him and Souza out here tonight. Powers out here tonight. They do have Durstock, but he got, unfortunately, in a wreck earlier. So they don't have any data they can lean on. Whereas Pierce, they had Dodson that came in early. Pierce then came in, and then Souza came in. So Souza kind of had the benefit of knowing how the car was going to react to the changes in the track with those fresh tires, because Dodson came in so much earlier than he did.
You see Dirugeris going around Tom Parra here. Parra's in 5th place, Jared.
Tom Parra sitting there on the outside looking in as far as the round of 12. Could use a big points night, but he just went a lap down without pitting yet, Dean. So this is going to be a tough for him to kind of get something out of this at this point, Dean.
Well, I mean, I think he's still got a shot here at a top 6 or 7. It's hard to say, but Parra's doing a nice job to hang in here in this points battle. You look back in 6 is Brandon Pierce in the 41. He was early into pit road. Carl Dodson right there in the 10, and then Jeffrey Souza in the 14.
There you go, Dirugeris and Carpenter is in 2nd place, and then Swope and then Powers, your top 4. They're the only, or top 5 are the only guys that have not pitted yet. Brandon Pierce, Dean, I'm looking at the track map right now. Pierce across the line just now, and he is actually only about a corner from unlapping himself.
Yeah, and he's probably going to get up there and do just that if we stay green. And then, he'd probably be in front of Dirugeris after pits, I would imagine.
Yeah, and that's where I have to say that John Dirugeris, just looking at it, I mean, I think if he can't make it to the end, he should already be on pit road, because I think he's going to lose a ton of time as he almost runs into the back of Marshall Layton coming out turn 4.
Well, that's the thing. You're not leaving yourself. I mean, we're down to 35 to go here. You're not leaving yourself a lot of time to make up those track positions. It's one thing when you stay out and you've got 45 to go, but, we're getting down there. He's going to leave very little time to do the work he's needed to do.
Yeah, and you see in the screen there, Dean, from the wide angle, you can actually see Brandon Pierce is there. He is sneaking into the screen. And I'm projecting right now, based on our information, I think he's John Dirugeris. If he pits now, he's going to come out behind Brandon Pierce by quite a bit. He's actually going to come out back there around where Jeffrey Souza is in 8th place.
Yeah, and that gives him a ton of work to do. Like I said, and here's Powers coming in. So Powers has vacated the track and decided to come on to pit road.
This is going to be the test. What kind of information is Powers going to relay to Dirugeris and let him know how this track is handling or the conditions or what kind of adjustments he's going to do, because this is what Dirugeris needs right now, because Pierce is there. He's going to get his lap back.
We're going to hop on board with Pierce and just see what kind of closing speed. You see there, center off a little bit better. Dirugeris still quite good, though, on those old tires. We head down into corner number 3.
And Pierce is going to look to the outside. Dean, Dirugeris, nothing he can do. Pierce back on the lead lap.
Dirugeris is coming in. So Dirugeris is coming into pit road here on lap 98. He has decided to make this stop. I mean, I think it's wise. He was almost too late. Swope's in. He went through his stall. Parriott in.
Yeah, and this is going to be close. I mean, this is... I think he stayed out too long, Dean.
I mean, he's opened the window. You know, he might not have stayed out too long. Maybe he gets it done, but he has opened up the chance. Now, if a caution comes out, he will not be the leader. Guys will come in and get fresh tires. It's going to be highly interesting here as we get down to close to 30 to go. Your new race leader, Michael Carpenter, in the 23.
And Dirugeris is going to come out alongside Dotson there. He's going to have to play the apron, though, because he has to stay below the commit line. So he's going to come out in de facto third place, Dean. So that he did beat Souza out. So it was close, but not he barely beat Souza out.
Well, he's lucky there. He got by some of the, there was 3 cars right there. He beat them, so he doesn't have to deal with that. That's really going to help Dirugeris. He's going to be working on Dodson already, so Dirugeris in really good shape here. Not quite in the peril we thought he might be in.
Yeah, 3 seconds. Dotson threw a little bit of a block through the middle of the corner. Nothing malice there, but did slow down the run for Dirugeris. Don't let that outside line open up if you're Carl Dotson, because that's where Dirugeris can just make you pay. And Dirugeris says, no, I'll go around to the bottom. Never mind.
Yeah, I'll take it wherever you aren't. That's where I'm going. John Dirugeris up there. Brandon Pierce still leading this thing, though. He's got about a 2.8 second lead on Dirugeris. We're on 29 to go here.
Well, technically, Carpenter is leading, yeah, Dean.
Yeah, Michael Carpenter is still in the lead, actually. Pierce, the leader out of the pit guys. Let's look in and see when Carpenter last pitted. So that'd be on lap 58. I mean, the pit stop is imminent for the 23.
Yeah, and Michael Carpenter pitted on 58, like you said, and he is stretching this thing out. I mean, and this is what you got to do. I mean, Michael Carpenter at this point, stretched out to that fuel is empty, because if you get a caution, this whole race is blown open, and all of a sudden you've got an advantage.
Souza gets around Dodson there. So Dodson now to third, or he's showing in 5th right now.
And these guys doing a great job here, but Dotson losing out to Souza, so put Souza back onto 4th place. Battle for the podium still on, though, as Souza making a little bit of inroads there, a little bit on Dirugeris. Dirugeris kind of got a little bit loose off turn 2.
You can see there the distance between Pierce and Dirugeris, and that is, you know, going to be the battle for the lead. But Carpenter is still out here. He's got a 15-second lead, Jared. I don't know. Should we start talking about can he make it?
Oh boy, that's 27 laps to go, Dean. I mean, that's a lot of laps. I mean, we've seen nobody.
He's coming in.
Well,
so he's not going to allow that conversation to be had here in the booth. The 23 coming into pit road, vacating the lead. I mean, it's still, Carpenter's made himself a nice night here. If he come back out here and get by, say, Swope and Powers at least, put him in the top 6 situation. But Pierce coming on by right now, your new race leader. Dirugeris closing in a hurry.
Yeah, and there you go. So Carpenter's probably going to come out about 7th or 8th place, but he does get that crucial bonus point for leading the lap, and that's all also very important, as Carpenter's down the way. So very quick pit stop for Michael Carpenter.
Yeah, Carpenter coming back out. He's going to actually beat Swope out, so he's not even going to have to pass him on the track. That tight pit road exit there, got to keep it under those lines. So Carpenter comes out in 6th. He'll be looking to hunt down Tracy Powers.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, Dean. I mean, he's about 14 seconds behind Carl Dotson. So I think he's got an opportunity for a top 5, though. Power's only 3 seconds up the road.
He's got an outside shot, no doubt.
But
We
up
got a
front,
battle for the lead, Jared. The 24, John Dirugeris, has made his way to Brandon Pierce. Now he's got to be patient here. And Pierce
No, he
is
doesn't.
squeezing him. I mean, he should be. There's no need to put yourself in peril here. You got 24 laps to get it done. You got the better tires. I think he needs some patience, but man, that car is so hooked up. He's driving it so well. He was like, I'm going to go take it right now.
oh, he's there. Oh, my goodness. I thought they were going to make
Yeah, man, this is what I'm talking about. This is what some of the most important laps of the race for the 24. He can get this done at any time. There's no rush here. Got to be a little bit patient.
He's just so good on the outside line. Pierce knows it. And Pierce has kind of adjusted his line, but I don't think Pierce really likes to run up there as much. You see Dirugeris just get that great run through the middle of that corner. Then he's starting to diamond down. He's doing a deep diamond, and this is going to pay off for him.
Yeah, you're going to get that big launch out of the corner, and that was the best way he could have get it done. You get him off the corner, down into the next one. Pierce doing a great job holding off, but you can see there, deep into the center, the 24 is so good. He comes off with the race lead. Pierce falls to second. John Dirugeris back on the point.
What a move by Dirugeris. Good job by Brandon Pierce. I mean, he's got almost 12 lap different tires. I mean, that does add up over a long run. And John Dirugeris doing a wonderful job tonight, Dean. And we were just talking about that Hendrick Motorsports team, how they kind of been on a cold streak, haven't been able to grab the wins. And here tonight, they are Dirugeris up front.
So what about Jeffrey Souza? You know, he's sitting here in third. Can he get up here and challenge Pierce for second?
I was looking at the last lap time, and it's going to update here in a second, but Souza was about 4/10 of that lap faster. Let's see what it is across the line now. Dirugeris is going to do, looks like a 30.41. Pierce at 31 flat, and Souza at 30.8. So, Dean, he is coming. He could get to second.
He definitely could.
You look at Dotson. He's kind of dropped off the back, but Dean, the second fastest driver that lap was Tracy Powers in 5th place. Powers 11 seconds behind Dotson. I don't think he's got enough time to catch up to Carl Dotson with 20 laps. I mean, he's going to have to put down just some immaculate laps, but Powers definitely finding some speed in the 5 machine. Carpenter just a tick quicker that last time by than Powers as well. He's the fastest driver on the track that time by.
Yeah, Michael Carpenter, we've seen him show some speed tonight, and you see him drifting up the track a little bit there. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, but I think, I mean, he might be finding that high line to his liking here late in this race. Currently in 6th, 3.8 seconds away from Powers. I don't think he's going to catch him.
Yeah, 3.82. I mean, that's quite a bit of distance. They're both running kind of the same lap times or trading lap times at least. So I don't think Carpenter's going to have a very easy time catching up to Powers. Like I said before, Towers 10 seconds behind Dotson. I mean, it's going to be difficult there. But we were talking about Souza. He has caught Brandon Pierce, Dean.
Souza there now with Swope right on top of him. Swope going to be a lap down. So he makes that move easy. I think Elliott giving him some room to race there. Good job by the 1. And Souza, that's going to cost him a little time getting to Pierce, but he's got it under 1 second now.
Yeah, 1 second. Was about 7/10 that last time by until he caught Swope up and kind of got held up there. Unfortunately, there nothing Swope could have done differently. You just lose time when you're trying to pass people. But Souza is making a good run toward the front. And what will Brandon Pierce do? Will he let Souza go by, knowing he's not really in the playoff hunt here?
No. Just to say it flat out, no, he will not. He's going to fight for every position, I believe. I mean, there's a chance he might, but we're riding on board with Souza right now, just seeing if he's closing in at all and what kind of line he's running here.
You see Souza a little bit damaged to the right front there, right up against the wall, and he's entering right there in the second groove, Dean. He is preferring that low to middle groove. He has not ventured up the track. He has not really tried to find a different angle of attack. He is kind of running what you would call maybe a traditional line around here. Let's see what he does through 1 and 2. Linters right there at the black pavement there, but doesn't drift up the track. Running right there in the middle the whole way around, but he is gaining on Brandon Pierce.
Yeah, he's gaining, and there's something to be said for this. You know, my first thought was that he is probably running the way he's run in practice, the way he's run over the years, and this is a rhythm track, so he might be duplicating his laps a little more consistently. Oh, and a wreck! Pierce right in front of him. Wow.
Caution is out.
We caught that right on the live vision there from the car of Souza. He broke loose out of the corner.
Dean, I know I don't think it's in the game, but we saw Jeff Nanese smoking there, and you have to wonder if some proverbial oil was put down there and Pierce got in it.
It could be, Jared. Let's get a look in on Brandon Pierce. Definitely smoking out there. The 41 running a middle groove here. He gets in that smoke groove a little bit. Wow, and maybe a touch loose and an overcorrection. Let's maybe go to a on board. Let's go to on board with the 41 and just see what the wheel movements were like there. All right, coming out of the... We're going to have to back it up a little bit more here. So middle of the corner, Jared. He comes through here. Off the corner, and you can almost hear he just over-gassed up by the sounds of it. Broke loose, over-corrected it.
Yeah, Dean, you know, I've driven, you know, the trucks, the Arca, Xfinity, the Gen 6, and I have to say the next gen car looks pretty much unsavable once you get it loose tonight.
It does. It looks very tough here. Now, pit road. Is it not open? Souza's in. Pierce is in. Dodson. Powers. Dirugeris not in. Oh,
Carpenter stays
boy.
out. Carpenter stays out too, Dean.
Carpenter stays out. Those are your lead lap cars. I think Elliott Swope going to get your lucky dog right now. So the one making his way around, he'll be back in this thing. But Dirugeris and Carpenter staying out. They going to be sitting ducks out here. Can Dirugeris, the way he's been running, hold these guys off? I mean, you're talking about, it's only 6 laps. Or no, it's going to be 20 laps, Jared. 20 lap fresher tires.
Oh, 20 lap fresher tires. Yep, 20 lap fresher tires. But man, I like the call by Carpenter. I mean, he's only been out there 14 laps compared to Souza. I don't like the call by Dirugeris. He was leading the race.
And Powers off pit road. Dodson, did Dodson come in? Yes. So Jeffrey Souza first out. Dodson, Powers, Elliott Swope with a lucky dog. I think he's still got to come in, but Pierce still sitting on pit road.
Yeah, that 41 car took significant damage, so I think that he's kind of probably out of this race at this point. Dirugeris coming down the front straightaway. Pierce still sitting there, and I think, yeah, he's going to get lapped.
Wow, Brandon Pierce going a lap down with that heavy damage. So unfortunate for him.
But this could be huge. I mean, this could be huge for Michael Carpenter. I think, again, I like the play. I don't love the play by Dirugeris. I do like the play from Carpenter because Carpenter's back there in 6th or 7th. That's a lot of cars you got to pass. It is tough to pass here. If he can just roll the car like he had been, I think he could still hold off the guys on the older tires. Dirugeris, you had the lead. I guess he was anticipating maybe the guys behind him doing whatever he didn't do, kind of put you in a negative spot. But Dirugeris has a strong car, Dean. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do here. I think the race is going to get restarted with 9 laps to go here.
My, oh my, drama late here at New Hampshire. I love it. John Dirugeris, I mean, we're not rooting against him, but the dominant here in the the second half of the race, now going to be put to the task. I mean, you got to, if anybody can do it on old tires, it's going to be the 24.
Yeah, we've seen him do it before. I think it was Las Vegas earlier this year, Dean, where he was able to stay out on old tires and end up grabbing the win. So he is a guy that can get it done if there is somebody out there.
Second row going to be Souza and Dodson. They're going to have to deal with Carpenter first. And they got Powers and Swope. Swope right back in this thing. Elliott Swope persevering here in the 1. Can he find some short run success?
Yeah, we're about to find out, man. This is where it gets exciting, Dean. You know, when you have these different pit strategies, playoffs bring out everything in a race.
Unbelievable. It always happens. You know, whatever can happen will happen. The 24 leading this thing. Carpenter on the outside. Pace car is off. John Dirugeris down and away. A great start by him. 23 doing a pretty nice job. Everybody else mediocre back here. Did not get the launch they want. Souza sends it in deep. Gets by Dodson. He's looking under Carpenter. He's got to make short work of Carpenter here, Jared.
Carpenter doing a great job down the back straightaway. Souza looking low. Carpenter goes up to his preferred high line, able to roll the middle of the corner. Souza has to slow up just a little bit through the middle. He is alongside coming off the front straightaway, Dean. Tracy Powers giving Carl Dodson a shove out of turn 4.
Man, oh man, and Dodson coming underneath Carpenter. So we stay with this right in front of him. We're on 8 to go, and it's going to be Dirugeris, Ken, Souza, or Dodson. Get in there and run him down. Don't forget about Powers right there as well.
Dirugeris is about a half a second up, but Dean, that gap coming down in a hurry. Last time by, we'll figure out what the lap times are here, I guess, this lap for more accurate detail. At the line, Dirugeris does a 30.28, Souza a 30.09, and actually did the best second sector of the race so far, Dean.
Yeah, Sousa's coming, but I got to tell you, Dirugeris is still looking pretty darn good. You're going to have to not only get there, you got to get by him, and that he's running that high line. Souza way up the track. He's looking for a big run out of this corner.
That's a great spot, Dean, for Souza to do it. The deep diamond, way up the track, arc it down low, get a power run down the straightaway. He cut down 0.6 of a second right there, Dean.
Yeah, that was a nice move. He is to the bumper of our leader, Jeffrey Souza, now with 6 to go, looking to make his move. And I talked about patience earlier for the 24. No time for patience for the 14. He's got to make his move.
If you're Dirugeris, you're mirror driving at this point. You know he's got faster tires. Do not let that 14 car get alongside you because it's over at that point. Doesn't throw a block down into turn 1. But it's still pretty early to go. 5 to go here in the race.
5 to go. Dirugeris way up, maybe a little too much. Gonna get a good run off though. And I'm thinking, and he's in the wall. It's over for Dirugeris. Jeffrey Souza comes through, and that was just a little bit of a mistake. Maybe one of the few we've seen out of the 24.
Yeah, he just pushed it too hard off the corner, Dean. Almost hit the wall, and he had to back out, and Dirugeris gonna not win this race after dominating all night long.
But Souza, I mean, let's talk about him. What a night he's had. He's persevered here, and now the 14 coming there, gonna lock himself into the next round. I mean, he's got 4 laps to go. I'm not trying to say it's over by any means, but great job by him. Dodson now working on Dirugeris. Powers right there.
Yeah, and this is huge because Dodson, I mean, like I said, he's got that win in the bank. So now he's just trying to take points away from Dirugeris, make it harder on him to get to the round of 12. But my goodness, man, that's what you hate to see, Dean. I thought it was a gamble by Dirugeris, I'm not going to lie, and it did not pay off for him. But he's holding off Dodson, couldn't hold off Souza.
I'm wondering if Dodson's backing out at all. If you remember, Dirugeris pushed Dobson to that win, jumping off the high line, getting behind him, and pushing him, a non-teammate, and he owes him a debt of gratitude there. Will he repay him, or will he? Looks like he's still trying to take it. You know, no friends at the racetrack.
Yeah, I don't think he's laying back, but I mean, I don't think he's pressing too hard either. I think he's more concerned about Tracy Powers getting a point on him, as Powers now enters the fray there in 4th. But Souza's going to take the white flag here, Dean.
He is. Dodson up the track, going to circle down, maybe get a run. Looks a little slow on exit, still getting the run though, coming down. But while this going on, Souza down into 1 on our final lap. The 14 coming through 2 behind them. Dodson, Dirugeris still battling.
A good job by Jeffrey Souza, going to lock himself in, doesn't have to worry about Chicagoland next week, Dean, as he goes through the final set of corners here at the Magic Mile.
The 14 coming out of 4, going to take this victory here in the New Hampshire 150, locking himself in behind him. Dirugeris holding off Dodson. Powers right there. Swope going to come home 5th. Carpenter in 6th. Para, Layton, Souza, and Withers going to be your top 10 finishers.
Good recovery by Elliott Swope. And Dean, you talk about Michael Carpenter. That gamble did not pay off for him. I thought that was going to work out for him, but he ends up where he was.
Yeah, it was a tough call, but you didn't lose anything, so no big deal for Carpenter. I think I would have liked to have seen him pick because he was so good on the short run tonight.
What a win by Jeffrey Souza, Dean. He has been on a tear as of late and grabbed another huge win.
Yeah, Souza out of Somerset. Not sure where that is. Jared, are you familiar with Somerset?
Yeah, that's didn't see what state it was, Dean.
There's no prefix, that's what I'm saying. But nonetheless, out of Somerset there, we got him down as Stuart Haas. I think he's part of Stuart Haas Racing, Jared. Souza, I mean, we talked about it. This is the highest I rating guy in the league. Very proficient iRacer, and I thought maybe like a track like tonight he would show it. It took a little late race caution, but here he is in victory lane.
Huge win for John Dirugeris, and you look at it, Dean, for Jeffrey Souza. Wow, 3rd win of the year, so that's huge for him. And he's also won. Just 3 weeks ago he won a race. So I mean, he has been on kind of a tear lately.
He is. I think he took a couple extra laps there, Jared. I think he's quite excited here tonight.
And as he should be, punches his ticket to the round of 12, Dean. That means we got 15 drivers still eligible for 10 spots.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys still battling here, and small field that's going to come down to this last race for a lot of these guys. Going to be highly entertaining. Right now, let's take a short commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get interviews with these top 3 finishers.
We are back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, where the field is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this .625-mile racetrack. And just as the field comes all around turn number 4, the sunshine peeks through, helping warm things here. Bill Elliott leads him down. Benny Parsons on the outside. The green flag flies, and the first Union 400 Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into 2nd position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison. So here we go. It's just about to go away. They both coming out of turn 4. Earnhardt gets the lead. We had just heard from our spotters that Neil Ryan. Dale Earnhardt is on his last lap. This will be his 24th career win. Dale Earnhardt wins the first Union 400 at North Wilkesboro.
Back from that commercial of New Hampshire there, where, always seeing that smirking, smiling Dale Earnhardt always brings good memories to me, Jared. And here we are at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where Jeffrey Souza has come home in victory lane. In this race, we had a little bit of everything. Some early cautions, some wicked handling cars, low lines, high lines, late race caution, and a little bit of drama.
Yeah, I think this race had everything that you could think of. And again, tonight, it was all about survival. I mean, we saw how many drivers get some contact, get some damage from wrecks. John Dirugeris, I believe, was the only driver that had a whole clean car the whole race. But then we saw the 41 machine, Pierce leading this thing. He loses the lead, turns it over to Dirugeris. Dirugeris dominates, and then at the end of the race, Dean, a pit strategy call, and Souza ends up sneaking away with the victory, punches his ticket to the round of 12.
Yeah, it's so important to get that ticket punched. And we got a guy who punched his last week. He got a little help from our second place finisher last week at Dirugeris, but Carl Dodson, the number 10, makes it to the booth under threat earlier, I might add, or promise, I should say. He's made it here. Congrats on third place tonight, Carl.
Appreciate it, Dean. Yeah, the car, I tried some different things. Like you said during the broadcast, I didn't have to do anything other than just finish clean. Get the track experience. Just ready to go to the next race, see what happens, and then get to the round of 8. Happy for my teammate to win. Hate that there's controversy, people that are a little upset or maybe just jealous. I don't know. It makes me upset. Normally I'm happier, Dean, but just all the stuff on YouTube, the talk and the trash talk, it is what it is. If they want to be haters, I'm going to just let it go and leave it alone. But it's very disappointing that people are like that.
Carl, it's been my experience that you just don't read them. Just race your car, make adjustments. If there's anything you want to take some constructiveness out of it. If not, disregard. It doesn't matter. You are who you are. Race your car, man. Think you've been doing a great job. But let's get to your race. Early on, that car, little ill handling. Got loose, I don't know,
Dude,
2, 3, 4 times maybe?
So I don't want to say I have a good caliber of driving. I just may have a horseshoe stuck up my ass or something, because I got loose once early, overdriving it off turn 2, got loose, got in the grass, kept it out of the wall, saved it, kept going, no yellow. Then later on, did the same thing. It's all about too much throttle, too much wheel, whatever I'm doing wrong, over aggressiveness. Got loose. I literally saved that car, I think, 14 times tonight, because I did try some different things that made it loose. But the last thing I want to do is bring out a yellow. So I gave up spots, gave up time, did whatever I had to do not to kill myself or mess up everybody's race. But I'm really appreciating the car I had under me, the drivers around me, giving me room. It's a short track, a lot of braking going to the turns. People are going to overdrive the cars. That happened to me earlier. It just sucks. But, hey, it is what it is. I got out of here with a third place finish, and I will take that shit.
You should take it. It was a great run, man. It was entertaining. And I like what you talked about. And that's exactly what you need to do. You had a good car, fast car, but it's hard to handle. And it was going to break loose, or it did break loose several times. You just took what you got. You took your medicine, you got back in there, and you fought and you persevered. And this is, the beginnings of what is going to be a run out of championship here, Carl. You're going to have to do more of this kind of thinking out here. We look ahead, we're going to be at Chicagoland. I mean, you won at, I think, Michigan it was, so it's going to be very similar there. You got to like your chances at Chicagoland.
Anytime we get to a 1.5-mile track, I'm really proficient at paying attention to the draft. As long as I don't bend up the front end, usually I have a chance to run up front. It's all about patience at those tracks and waiting to the end and having a car at the end. Some of it's pit strategy, like what happened at Michigan. Michigan was all about pit strategy, practicing it, figuring out the fuel mileage, figuring out the car package, how many cars, runs more efficient. And, on restarts, God forbid you do what I did earlier and jump the start. That was my damn teammate to the left. And I still jumped the start and had to give it all up.
Well,
Damn idiot.
We talked about it, Carl. You did an excellent job. So did Dirugeris staying off of you. You gave that thing back. So you jumped it a bit, but you gave it back right away. Dirugeris does a nice job of not running you over. And I thought it was basically is pro moves. You make a mistake, but you correct it quickly rather than take it and then end up with a big problem where there's a penalty or whatever the situation may be. So you did a lot tonight of what championship driving is all about: saving cars, taking your medicine, giving back spot on the start. You did a lot to get here onto the podium tonight, man. I like your chances going forward. And I want to say, don't lose your love for racing, Carl. You just be you, brother. We love you up here in the booth, and congrats on third. Anybody you want to thank, now's the time, brother.
Yeah, I want to thank my team over at the Haas Racing, and I also want to give a shout out to my other teammates at Hendricks before I transferred over. all of them race me clean. They're damn good racers. John's always respecting giving me race, and that showed it on those restarts. And Tracy running me hard. I love racing hard. I don't mind a little bumping and driving, but those drivers always give it to me, and I think it's because of respect I have for them and they have for me.
All right, man. There's the ever entertaining Carl Dotson, third place tonight, Jared.
Yeah, and I'm down here with our runner-up tonight, John Dirugeris. John, congratulations on second place, but I have a feeling you probably wanted more tonight.
Yeah, I'm not happy. Should have won that race. Had the best car in the right position. Had the best car out there. I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, should have won that race.
All right, let's talk about it. I mean, you put it out there. What was the decision-making on that last pit stop that made you want to stay out there?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to beat them when they came down. I knew older tires were not the way to go, so I waited a little bit and came down. And I knew I had the best car and got around everybody pretty clean. Got around the 41 clean. Got around everybody I needed to, and was pulling away. Yeah, just not happy. Not happy with it.
Well, you elected to stay out there on that last caution. You and Michael Carpenter, Jeffrey Souza decided to pit, and he was able to get around you. But before that all happened, I mean, you, like you said, dominated this race. Brandon Pierce was up there as well. Looked like Tracy Powers and him were going to battle it out. Those two had some contact, got together, and unfortunately, that ended their nights a little bit. Pierce got repaired, got back in there, but you then just took off from everybody.
Yeah, that really opened the door for the 24 team. Tracy, we had basically the identical setup, just a couple different tweaks. So I know he was fast, and I know he didn't mean to get into the 41 at all. I was right there behind him, and when I saw it happen, I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" Because I hated that because we were having a great race. But yeah, on that last pit stop when Michael and I stayed out, I just didn't have any tires left. I just didn't have anything, so there was no reason to go down pit road and lose that track position. I had enough gas. I just didn't have any tires left, so that's what happened there.
And that's what we were wondering in the booth. But John, either way it goes, I mean, we got Chicagoland next. I mean, it looks like you're pretty comfortably into the round of 12, regardless of everything going on. How are you feeling about Chicagoland and then starting the second round of the playoffs there?
Yeah, the first race didn't go as I liked it to. Tracy and I made a pit stop mistake and got a lap down, and that was that. And then this race clearly had it won, and some things happened that I'm not too happy about. So next week I'm coming for the win, and I'm calling my shot because this one, just let's say I'm second place is not where I wanted to be, and I think everybody watching knew that. So yeah, Chicagoland next week. It's I'm gonna come out here and win the race and do the best that I can, and I'm not gonna just let off. So.
Wow, I like it, John. A lot of confidence there, man. But I'm going to give you the last word here tonight. Turn the mic over to you and let you thank anybody that you like to talk.
Yeah, I just want to thank Olive, Hendrick, Tracy, Fred, and Thomas. Can't do without those guys. Want to thank all the admins, of course, for putting on this amazing league. They do a great job. We talk every week, and it's so fun. Want to thank all the sponsors, and of course, I want to thank everybody out there watching. My friend Vince, my mom, and also my girlfriend Sophia. And let's go on to Chicagoland.
All right, Dean, that was John Dirugeris. A little bit dejected, maybe a little bit upset, but I think that anger is going to fuel him to a good race next week. But I think you've caught up with our race winner tonight and official round of 12 competitor, Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, man, we got, one guy was a little bit dejected there, the 24, a little upset. We don't hear that from John too often, but I've got someone who's elated, and he took advantage of that late opportunity. That's a 14, Jeffrey Souza, winner here at New Hampshire. Congratulations, Jeffrey.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It was, I listened to what John had to say there, and I think he was, pretty much right on key with what he was saying about the strategy there. We had a pretty decent car the whole race. I ended up in the wall early when Brandon and Tracy got down in turn 3, but they it was definitely going to be a Haas versus Hendrick battle there at the end.
Well, Jeffrey, let's talk about the earlier parts of the race there. Several cautions, a couple of incidents. You get some damage. Now, you pitted several times and put yourself back in the pack and kept coming through. I mean, did we even have a chance to see what the 14 is really capable of? Did you have a car that, like, if we were just green flag and all starting near the front somewhere, I mean, did you have something for John? Were you that good tonight?
Based on the practice race last night, which I also ended up with right front damage in, so I kind of had a little bit of experience there with how to drive the car with damage. But I feel like after the race last night, I might have had something to contend with the 2 Hendrick guys up front there if we had a long enough green flag, on equal tires, starting up front and not starting in the back end of the field. But the cars played how they were, and it ended up how it did.
Yeah, man. And we don't have to talk about hypotheticals. I thought you did some great work there. You come in, you got the damage fixed at your own peril position wise. Probably smart, made that car better or later. And we get towards the end of the race, you're looking better and better and better. And then, my goodness, the old 10 to go caution comes out, and your eyes got to light up when you see Dirugeris staying out.
Yeah, we knew that there was a possibility there. I was gonna take tires at the same time that he did, but I ended up not, just because I thought we'd have a long enough green flag run that just saving tires under that green flag run and be able to make it to the end would have been a big deal after the practice race yesterday, but we didn't actually have enough gas to make it to the end. I thought I was going to be a couple laps to the good, and I ended up being a couple laps to the bad. So I kind of split that last round in half and thought I was going to make a lot more time up than I did, but John actually came out in front of me there when we did end up cycling through. So it was, a tough situation there with the tires. And, last week, he got us. We got them with strategy, really, with the coming down, taking gas, and being able to make it. And this week, he basically had that whole thing locked up. About that late yellow there, I just want to say that I know a couple select people in the chat right now are saying some things about spin gate and such, and I'll let you know that Brandon is one of the most respectful drivers that I've ever raced with. He's not going to race like that. We don't want to win races from yellows like that. And just like the Hendrick guys don't want to do that to us. We've had contact, we've had run-ins with each other over the season, but, we worked with them at the beginning of the season. We helped them a lot, and, we're not going to screw each other like that. So I just want to let everyone know that that's, it happens. Happened to me last night in the practice race. I got loose like that, pretty much the exact same way. This car is very finicky if you turn the wheel to the right a little too fast. So I just want to let everyone know in the chat that I'm not going to win like that. I won't take wins where people are wrecking each other. So I'm not going to do it.
I just want to interject and confirm what you're saying, or go along with what you're saying. The people in chat, what you don't realize is everybody on this track, you'd be hard pressed to ever find someone who would do that. They're all racing their hearts out. And we've had 3 interviews with 3 dejected individuals. And I just want to let you know what an effect, I know they're just comments and stuff, but you're having a great effect on these guys and their ability to enjoy. They're racing their hearts out. They're not purposely doing anything that is literally almost never happens. These guys are running a league. They're friends. They know each other. They talk to each other, and they love racing. And I want everybody here to enjoy it. I want to hear the old Carl Dodson. I want you in Victory Lane, Jeffrey, where you're sitting right now, and I want you happy as all get up. Stuff happens out on the track. That's racing, baby. This wrecking's been a part of racing since the day it started, and it's going to continue. So Just enjoy yourself. Don't worry about the comments, man. Enjoy this victory. You're locked in to the next round now, and that's awesome. You can freewheel it down at Chicagoland, and I think you got something after what we've seen at Michigan.
Yeah, I next week's really going to be a message of, try to help get Steven locked in. I'm not sure where he's going to be locked in points wise this week, because I know he's been sick this past week, so he wasn't able to make it tonight. So hopefully he's doing okay. It just hope he's doing okay. We haven't heard from him this week, so hope he's okay. And we're gonna move on to Chicago and wipe the rust off and try to get another Haas car in victory lane.
Yeah, we certainly hope everything's all right there as well. And I'm sure you guys, you guys are really battling hard against these Hendrick guys. I think you're going to be, it's going to be a great battle down to the end. Congrats again on this victory, Jeffrey. And you got any shout outs, man? Now's the time.
Yeah, I just want to thank, everybody at Hendrick, and they really have done a great job this year. I think we're going to have a great season. Race to the championship. Everyone at Haas that have worked really hard. I want to thank everyone in the league so far. We've come far from the beginning of the race season. I know a lot of guys, we've been, on and off with some people, but everyone's really done a good job making it to the point where we could run this race today with that long green flag on, green flag stops and such. Mom, Dad, everyone at home, Souza Media for helping out with the broadcast and recovering everything here for us on my side, and Tucson Sound Art, which jumped on board after last week after we were struggling there with funds to put sessions up and such, and they were able to give us a little bit of money for sessions this past week. So thank you to them as well for sponsoring the team.
All right, man. Jared, that's Jeffrey Souza, race winner here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, and what a race it was. It's a little bit of a shame, Dean, about some of the comments that are out there.
Yes.
But we watched that race. I mean, it was what an action-packed race it was. We had some good battling with Powers and Pierce, and then we had a great battle with Pierce and Dirugeris there as well. And Dirugeris had a great run in the middle, and Souza just came out on top. And his pit strategy sometimes wins you at races, and sometimes it loses you races, Dean. And that's all there is to it. But we move on. Chicagoland next up.
Yeah, man, we got Chicagoland race number 3 in the first round. Last race, gonna be key for someone out here. We'll have all that coverage Tuesday at 9 p.m. Fresh starts. Hopefully everybody's still friends, man. We love covering them. Let's put some good spirits out there heading into next week and have a little fun out on the track. But for myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Jared Carr, that's gonna wrap it up here from New Hampshire, and we'll see you right here next time on Full Throttle TV.